So one of them was my phobia of dogs now.
I knew you were going to say that.
Can I just say it? My phobia of dogs.
I was like, she's going to say she got trained by a dog. 100%.
Okay, no, but that's a whole story in and of itself. But no, there's that.
I never got that story before.
Dogs.
It was June the 14th.
I bet it was a chihuahua. Now joking. What dog was it?
I don't know what it is. Someone actually needs to do like an analysis of why Somalis are scared of dogs. Because in mine, it was a genuine experience. Others, like, wouldn't say the same. Others, it's just innate. It's just something that they're born with, I guess.
Suleiman,
Saduddin.
what are you telling me, bro?
How
was your week?
I'm chilling. Week was good. Went to a very nice restaurant with a friend called, what's it called again? Patty and Bun. Bond Street. Yeah, it's cool. Yeah, Bond Street. It's really, really good burger place. And I highly recommend it to everyone. The best burger I've ever had was in Istanbul. It was, what's the guy that does this with the salt? Salt Bay. Yeah, so Salt Bay's original restaurant in Istanbul. And this burger was on par. Like,
Competing.
Yeah, it was competing. So,
Wow.
yeah, big facts. What about you? How was your week?
I came across a podcast called The Sacred, which I've been listening to.
Sorry.
Why is that funny?
I'm sorry. It's just the fact that we're saying this all over again. I had to act like you haven't heard it.
The Secret? What's it about, bro?
Tell me more.
I'm sorry, I just ruined it. I'm sorry.
So I came across a podcast called The Sacred. So there's 3 things about it that are sick here. 1 is the host, 2 is the content, and 3 are the people. So the host is a sick host, and what she is sick at is conducting conversations in a way I haven't seen done before. So I was saying to Ifrah and Suleiman earlier that basically what she does, her name's Elizabeth Oldfield, and what she does is if I were in her shoes, I would find myself in certain moments in a conversation almost like there's no way out of here without either quickly changing subject or there being some sort of tension or friction. She manages to negotiate her way or navigate through conversations, not out of them, in a way that is meaningful and still manages to evoke some sort of meaningful response out of the person she's having a conversation with. And then the second thing is the content, which is what The Sacred does is cut out all small talking conversations. So the first question she asks someone is, what is sacred to you? And some people will say God, some people will say language, some people will say freedom of speech. And she begins with that and then kind of asks, okay, so why is that important to you? At what point was it important to you? Was there a turning point in your life? And then the final thing, take care, Mabs. And then the final thing is the people that she brings on. So a lot of the people that she brings on are people that have a public voice, and she brings them on, and that's sick because the people that usually you only see their public face, you get to see a different dimension, like deeper, I don't know if deeper is the right word, dimension of who they are. And I think for all those 3 reasons, it's a podcast that I come back to quite often. Woo! How did I do, guys? That was the second time.
That was good.
What I had to do
I was
is
like 30 seconds shorter than last time.
what I had to do, is because we've done this before, I had to re-deliver all of that, but I was like, I can't do it in the same way. I've got to find a different route.
I've got an even better question.
God.
So my question, this one I thought about this one. This is, how has that podcast, like, what do you want to take away from that podcast to be a better host for yourself for this podcast? Like, how has it shaped
Do you know what? It's reaffirmed to me something that I think I've come to learn by doing this, by having these conversations, which is more often than not, you can just ask the question that's on your mind to people. And I think I don't know about you, Ifrah, but like me, I would never go there in conversations. You know, like there's a grey area, and then there's like, this is cool. For me, 90% of any conversation is like 99% grey area. 1%, we can have that convo. So basically, my conversations were never quote unquote deep ever. You get me? Ever. And not to say they're mad deep now. I'm just like, yo, what's your relationship like your mum on site? But if like I have something to say, and it's like I feel like it's kind of appropriate, I'll just ask it. Do you know what I mean?
So would you ask that question?
What's
your relationship with your mom?
If we were talking about mothers and I'm not just like, hey, let me chat to you quick. What's your relationship like? Yeah, I wouldn't do that like on site with anyone. But I would be more inclined to ask that. Whereas before, that would be like an absurd even idea. Like, why would I do that?
Ifrah,
we telling. What are you telling us?
how was your week?
It's been good, alhamdulillah. It's been quite busy with uni and everything. But yeah, I went to my friend's graduation that I met in first year at like a celebratory dinner for one of our mutual friends. And she was in third year at the time, but she was like one of those people, you know, when you enter a room, like the light in the room, it goes like,
Gang, that light, no. The light.
the light. No, but yeah, so she was one of those people that, yeah, when you enter a room, they're just sort of the light in the room. Okay, can we?
We're just by the way, just so people,
up?
we're not laughing at Ifrah's friends, yeah. It's just because we've done this before. It's the second time we're doing it, so it's just. Yeah.
But yeah, but on a roll, she was like literally the light in the room, and basically one of those people who you can put in any setting, and they'll just get along with everyone. Does that make sense? Or they'll try. Yeah, it's really really cool. And they'll try their best to make sure everyone gets involved, and like she just had such a beautiful character that you can tell from her actions. So yeah, I was drawn to her straight away. We got really close. But yeah, I saw her go through like a lot of adversities in her final year, and like when she graduated as well, and just I don't know, big inspiration to me, like a big sister almost, because despite everything that she went through, smashed all of her goals like out of the park like it was nothing. It was the fact that she did it as if it was nothing, and she did it with a smile on her face as well. And I don't know, seeing her at the graduation today, I don't know, it was just so inspiring. It was honestly so beautiful, and love her.
That's mad. How can I think of someone for you, bro? Go on. 'Cause I would have thought Jacob, because like.
That is true. That is true. That is actually, yeah. Jacob, who's someone who's been on the podcast, and I've mentioned this before, he's got the ability that your friend does, which is to kind of bring people that are seemingly from different worlds together in the same room, and all just be gang for the day. Like,
Yeah.
And for me, it's something that I just like, yeah, that's such a mad skill. And the thing is, he's just been able to do that, like, I'm assuming, like, your friend quite effortlessly.
Yeah, it's like, it's natural to them. Yeah.
That's crazy. Ifrah, I've got a big question for you. Why do you rate Wembley so much? Because like, we were talking before the podcast about how, like, Wembley might be a bit superior. You mean it's superior compared to other areas? But like, what's your relationship like with Wembley and like the area that you grew up?
So I was born in Kilburn, Colindale.
Okay.
But that's a thing of the past. We moved when I was like 3 years old, and that's sort of like where my recollection of events sort of start in Wembley. So I think that's why, I don't know, that's why it's probably something so close to me. But no, I think the whole superiority thing is a joke between me and my friends. It's a joke.
What memories come to mind when you think about growing up in the estate?
Playing outside. So I grew up with four brothers, so 3 are older than me, 1 is younger. And the 3 olders are very close to each other. And obviously, me being the only girl, I was spoiled. I was so spoiled. So, like a memory that comes up is playing outside. I had a lot of like what I like to call near-death experiences. So one of them was my phobia of dogs now.
I knew you were going to say that.
Can I just say my phobia of dogs?
I was like, you're going to say she got trained by a dog. 100%.
Okay, no, but that's a whole story in and of itself. But then there's that.
I never got that story before.
Dogs.
It was June the 14th.
I bet it was a chihuahua now, Jacob. What dog was it?
I don't know what it is. Someone actually needs to do like an analysis of why Somalis are scared of dogs. Because in mine, it was a genuine experience. Others, like, wouldn't say the same. Others, it's just innate. It's just something that they're born with, I guess. But there's that. But that's like a massive story that happened, which I can go into. But there's another one where my parents bought me this hot pink bike, yeah. And I remember it so clearly. It had white handles, white tires, and then they had the 2 learner wheels on the back, right? I might have been a bit of a hypochondriac because I used to wear the helmet, the tightest that I can get to, the elbow pads, the knee pads, the gloves, and it's a 4-wheel bike. It's not going anywhere. It's stationary. It's a car. So I just remember, like driving, like not driving, but I mean riding the bike, and then my dad slowly taking off the learner wheels, and then getting so frustrated. I remember I used to get so frustrated, dropping and then getting back up and then dropping and then getting back up, and then it got to a point where I'm doing it on my own. Like, while I'm doing it on my own, I must have got a bit too excited. I don't know, the air was just different. you know when you finally understand something, or like, so I must have been going down like a hill kind of thing, near my house. I got a bit too excited. Alhamdulillah, I still wearing the helmet pads, and then I went down it. The brakes weren't working for some reason, and the bottom of the road is like a metal bar. So if I crash into that, game over. So I swerved it to the right or the left. I can't remember which road it was. But there was a car like parked stationary, and I just crashed into it. But I was fine, alhamdulillah, because of my helmet and my knee pads. But yeah, it was just so many like outdoor playing outside experiences where you just, as a kid, you want to try out different experiences and stuff. But yeah.
Apparently, when you have those near-death experiences, time is felt differently. Did you experience that? Like, did the world start just going slowly?
It was so slow.
Really?
It was so slow. That's so weird that you said that. It was very slow.
I didn't.
You know when people say
This
their
is a
life...
veteran. This is veteran. Multiple wars. Yeah.
You know when people say their life flashed before their eyes? That didn't really happen, but everything happened so slowly. In my head, I'm thinking, okay, say your shahada. Like,
Mad.
yeah.
How old were you, by the way?
Maybe 7?
Pious.
No. Not even. But
that's mad. But you know what you said about physical, like outdoor experiences?
yeah.
I always count my blessings, man. I feel like we
Alhamdulillah.
are part of a generation that is one of the last generations to have those types of, not like indefinitely, like you never know what the future holds, but the generation that are below us, I don't feel like they have that same level of outdoor experiences, man. A lot of them are just in the yard on their iPad watching TV.
It's sad. That's really sad, I think.
So
Do you think though? I feel like
what do you think?
for every trend, there's like a reactionary.
Yeah. I
thing.
think for now, that is the case though. I would say right now, that is the status in terms of a lot of young people spend their time indoors on technology. Or like, more so, yeah. But then I do foresee a future where like everyone becomes a digital minimalist, and like, do you know what I mean? Like everyone has realized the negative effects of social media or like technology and move away from it in a bit more of like just because of the experience, and like people will have more education and knowledge, and then it might even get integrated into the curriculum, whatever. So I can see that in the future still.
Do you think the pandemic like played a big part in that?
Well, I'm so happy you asked. Probably. Yeah, probably, man, 100%. There was this big research. There's a big research study about how like the COVID pandemic was the longest holiday children or young people have ever like experienced in history or like recent history. Like it was just one long holiday for a lot of kids. So yeah, we just have to wait and see what the effects are.
Chat to us about school, Ifrah.
So what? Primary school?
Yeah, let's go primary school. What was that saying?
Okay. Primary school. I loved my primary school. I was telling Suleiman, basically, our primary school, not to do that whole superiority thing again, but we were the only primary school in like the area that had like a swimming pool inside the school.
Wow.
Whereas all the other areas, like they'd have to go towards the sports centre or Bell Farm, the normal sort of.
The normies.
No, that's not what I meant. But when you start high school, that's sort of everyone has their sort of USP. That was our USP. Yeah, we had a swimming pool. But primary school, I was one of those kids. Did you guys have like a corridor where they'd put like displays of every year group, and like they change it every term, like of the 5 best pieces of work or the 10 best pieces of work. My dad was very big on education. My dad's very, very big on education, which I love, and I'm so grateful for, alhamdulillah. But I don't know, I guess he saw it as a way out kind of thing. But I used to make it my mission to have my work up there every term of every year group. Every year sort of I passed. And then I'd walk past the corridor,
in your glory.
and I'd act like every morning I'd have to walk past that corridor to get to like form, whatever. I'd walk past it like I've never seen it before. I'd walk past it like I've never seen it before. Like, wow.
You get other people's attention. Like, have you not seen it?
Wow, you guys seeing the handwriting.
Everyone's like, let's go that way to class. Let's go that way.
It's more scenic. It just feels better this way.
It's
Started about it.
That's crazy.
But,
What kind
yeah.
of stuff was it? Just like paintings or what?
It was honestly, I can't remember like reception and stuff. I just
Yeah.
remember like making sure I got it done.
Yeah.
But when it got to like year 2, year 3 and stuff like that, it was more, I really loved like English and writing and stuff like that. It was more like creative writing, stuff like that. But yeah.
I feel like in primary school there were so many assemblies. Did you not have assemblies 2-3 times a week?
I think every day.
Every day?
Yeah, every day.
I can't remember.
We even had birthday assembly. Did you have that?
What?
On every week there was one day where like whoever's birthday it was that week. It got political. Let me finish. It got political. So on that day they would bring a fresh cake. You know those the log ones.
Yeah.
So they'll bring the log cake and you were allowed to bring 2 friends up.
What the hell were they thinking?
Obviously, I brought one of my guys, innit? And then I brought my younger brother as well, innit? Because family first. But then when it was his birthday, my brother he didn't pick me up.
Your brother didn't pick you. Bare friction at home.
I like, do you know what I mean?
That's.
Do you forgive him?
Of course.
I'm joking.
Of course, forgive her, but never forget her. But what was your primary school's USP? I like that. I like that point.
It had no floors. It was flat.
Oh, I thought you meant floors in an FLAWS.
Had no stairs. Yeah. And it got bombed during World War II. So
Wow.
basically, there was a place called the Sunken Place, which has the new meaning now because of Get Out, which like very negative. But it was basically just like a hole in the ground, and you can kind of chill there basically. But they made it look nice and that they put like.
But that was the effect of a bomb. And they
Yeah,
turned it
yeah,
into
yeah.
a playground.
Yeah, they turned it into part of the playground, but it got bombed. That's why it was like that.
That's
And it had no
resourceful.
stairs.
I'll rate that.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's like what they did with Norfolk Hills, bro.
Wait,
You know
what?
Norfolk Hills was like Norfolk. No,
Yeah,
Norfolk
yeah.
Hills, right? It's made out of the
Oh, the park.
the big hills.
Yeah.
They're made out of like the soil that was left over after building Wembley Stadium.
Oh,
No
right.
way.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I didn't know that.
That's mad.
Yeah.
So in terms of my primary school, we had the biggest field in Southall. So every primary school used to play like Southall area sports. Whenever there was a football tournament, like athletics tournament, they would come to my school. But
Come on, guys. You know where to go. Come on. Pleasure having you. Sandwiches at the back.
How was your secondary school? What are your memories of secondary school?
Secondary school. So as I said, I've got 3 older brothers. So I don't know. I feel like people are very anxious and apprehensive when they start secondary school because, you know, you're a little. Before you were like the big cookies and like a small thing. Now you're the little crumbs. But I was not scared one bit because I knew I had my brothers. I'm not like not to like, but. Yeah,
But
I
I'm
just
just
knew.
saying,
I'm just
yeah.
saying. My brothers are there. I'm joking, but I just knew I had that sort of. I don't know if protection is the right word, but yeah. So I went in being me, and yeah, I really loved secondary school. Same way I loved primary school. My closest friends to this day
No
are
way.
from secondary school. I'm saying secondary school. We call it high school, but
Okay.
yeah. So like and yeah, so one of my closest friends as well. She's from primary school, but yeah, secondary school. Yeah, I loved it.
How would your friends have described you in high school?
It depends on which friend. I'm joking. They would say, I think they'd say that I was outgoing, talkative. I think I could talk to a brick wall, I'll be honest. But they would say, yeah, outgoing, talkative, maybe organized. I don't know if that's, yeah, I think maybe organized, yeah. That's a very weird, like, that's a
I've
very
never
weird,
heard
but
that list.
yeah,
ever.
because,
That
yeah.
list is
What was your relationship with your 3 brothers like in school?
Oh, that's a good question. So my oldest brother, he was in his first year of 6th form, if I'm not mistaken. The one after that, maybe in year 11, and then the one after that, maybe year 10. I can't remember, but they were sort of a bit older than me. So the 2 oldest, we never used to walk to school together, but it was because the one like closest to me, Fahad, he's the one I'd go to school with and stuff like that. I'll be honest, from a very young age, obviously I was the only girl, so I used to take advantage of that, and I used to take advantage of the fact that I was like spoiled by my parents and stuff. So I used to snitch on them quite a lot. I was so annoying growing up. Apparently, it's hearsay, but apparently, according to them, I was very annoying growing up, and I snitched on them over the smallest things. So I guess that sort of when I started year 7, that sort of stigma was still there. Like,
Yeah.
can we trust you? Can we not?
Like, are you a
Can we
liability?
trust you? But yeah, as I went through education, we got much closer. Like, I started getting really close to my brothers, and I think, like, one of my brothers, like, I would class him as probably my best friend sort of thing. He's probably gonna be watching this.
But you did say maybe though. To be fair, you
Maybe,
said
I think maybe. But yeah, no. I'm really close with them now. Like, alhamdulillah. I think primary school, high school, yeah, as you said, kind of saw me as a liability. But my younger brother, I think I was closer to him during that time. We're 2 years apart. But yeah, as I got older, I started getting much closer to my older siblings, alhamdulillah. But yeah, I don't think I was very, very close with them in high school. I wouldn't.
Are there any specific events that brought you guys together? Like, more so than, do you know what I mean? Like,
I would say maybe just the fact that I grew older and
yeah.
I became, with trust, to build someone's trust, you need to be reliable. You need to be, someone that, you can, you need to be a reliable person, someone that, and consistently as well. And when I sort of proved that to them, I think our relationship grew like that. And then when it came to like specific stuff that I needed advice for and stuff like that, I turned to them. And I think it grew over time. I would say I started getting really, really close with them.
What was that change in sixth form, and why did it come that you mentioned earlier?
So in my first year of sixth form, halfway through, my grandma passed away, Allah yarhamha. She didn't live here, she lived back home in Somalia. So basically the reason why it kind of really changed me, and I would say quite a pivotal change, I would say, 2 reasons. Firstly, her passing away was very, very unexpected. She didn't have any long-term health conditions or like life-threatening conditions or anything like that. It was just very random. And then secondly, the kind of person she was. So I would go home and visit and stuff like that. And there was a time period that I was there for quite a while, like 2 months. I don't know, it was just her character. Now that, she's passed away, whatever, when you'd ask people about her, like tell me about, her name was Bilad, tell me about Bilad, they would always, every single person that you'd ask would say her character. And that's so beautiful, and it's so true as well. In terms of like her character, she was so kind, very content. Like it's hard to find people who are content, right? Very optimistic. She hated conflict, and I think you can tell someone's character from what they do when they're angry. And when she was angry, she was very sort of calm, collected, it's really hard to see someone like that, but also knows how to communicate that, which is, it's really hard to find that balance. You're either like the explosive type or silent until I resent that person. But yeah, and like things like if she was in a setting or an environment where people were backbiting or slandering about somebody or like gossiping, she'd either remove herself from the conversation, or it was little things like this that I clocked onto, or she'd defend that person's name, or she'd confront that person who was speaking about them in private. Little things like that, like in private, you didn't do it in public, and it was just, I don't know, her character was just so beautiful, and I used to just love sitting with her and learning from her and stuff like that. I didn't only learn from her actions, and she also, one thing that I found really beautiful, she valued people's time. So if you told her, let's meet at 6 p.m, she'll be there at 5:30 with a coffee for you, basically. She was so beautiful. She was so close to her neighbours. She was one of those people who used to check up on people, always put people before herself, things like that. And there was this hadith that really helped at the time, and it said that something like the hellfire is forbidden for people who are close to people, gentle and easygoing. And she was all three, Allahumma barik. But yeah, funny story actually. She's all about togetherness and all that, yeah. So me, my mum wasn't born here, she was born back home as well, but she came here. And then so me, my mum, my sister, and my little brother were the ones who went to go visit quite recently. And it must have been, we were getting food, it was the first 3 days. Every time we'd eat lunch or dinner, we'd all eat in separate plates. And then, so the culture, obviously, I think it's the same with you guys, the culture, but the culture is to eat on one plate from your side of the table, right? From your side of the plate. My grandma was just looking at, Allah yarhamha, she was just looking at my mum like giving her death stare almost, like what's going on? But then I think by the third day she couldn't hack it anymore. So she said, what have you been teaching my grandchildren? What is this? Like, I just want to know, what is it? Why are you guys eating separately from us?
I said she kept it to herself.
she really tried, and you could tell. And I always used to wonder, like, did I put it on the plate wrong? Like, what did I do? And then she asked my mum, like, why do you guys eat separately? How can my mum answer that? Because it's just the norm over here. For them, the norm is eating together on one plate. Yeah, so my mum was trying to explain, you know, it's because we're eating, you know, that's how we were sort of brought up and stuff. But she was really big on, like, being all together and closeness, things like that. And I guess that's just a small way of showing how different society is here, or like in the West, than over there. I think over there is very like we and us and everything, whereas here we're very sort of like individualistic and stuff like that. So I don't know. I think it.
So on that point, I wanted to ask, what aspects of your Somali culture do you like? Are you intentionally trying to kind of preserve, like in like, or do you want to preserve, or do you when you have your own family and inshallah, and like moving forward, what parts of your culture are like really important to you?
I'll definitely say that togetherness. I think that's really important. But then again, you can't really blame us for, like, it's the norm over here to eat like separately and stuff. But yeah, sort of that. I would also say, I think in terms of like community, like, I guess togetherness community is very similar, but I mean togetherness in like the family home, and then there's community as in outwardly. I'm sure you guys have heard the thing, it takes a village to raise a child, etc. And I genuinely think that's true. And alhamdulillah, like with us as well, we all grew up with our cousins and aunties and things like that. And I don't know, I think my childhood would have been very, very different if it was just sort of my mum and my dad, that's it, and I was closed off to the rest of the world or the rest of my family. So yeah, I think that whole side of the whole thing of like community and like togetherness, closeness, things like that would be something I want to preserve. But I don't think it's just exclusive to Somali community. I think it's,
Yeah, on that point of society and how it shapes and forms you, one thing that stuck out to me, how you described your grandmother, was how she would react when people, you said, like, were backbiting or saying things that she didn't necessarily like. And I think the reason why those actions are, in my eyes, like super honorable is because with other things that are ethical, sometimes you can do them as just a social norm. Like everyone is very, a lot of people are very kind, a lot of people are very generous, and to not be generous or to not be kind is frowned upon in the society. So while it is good to do, to not do it, almost you ostracize yourself by not doing it. Whereas with speaking out in a room that people are sort of saying things that you are untowards, etc., it's an ethical act that by going along with, you kind of go with the crowd, and by not, you ostracize yourself. And so those are the most, at least to my mind, the more difficult. And I think to be able to do that is like such a honorable thing to be able to say about your grandmother. And I'm sure like the legacy that she left behind when you go visit is like a testament to that.
100%. No, 100%. I agree. The fact that she left that much of an impact on me, and I saw her like 2 years, I don't know, really, I guess acts as a testament. But yeah, I started like, I don't know, I started reflecting on my own character. There were a lot of traits, still have a lot of traits that I need to work on. So I sort of formulated a list in my head as well as going to people that are close to me. So my closest friends, the ones who've known me the longest, or my family, my brothers, my sister. My sister was quite young at the time, so she, you know, children tell the truth. Like they won't sugarcoat anything. So she was like, "Yep, so it's this." Obviously, there's good side, but there's this. So yeah, I sort of reflected on all of those, and there was a lot to take in. But I think with character, I think especially within like Muslim communities, a lot of emphasis is placed on like going madrasa and learning Arabic, Quran, and all of that, and it's really important. Don't get me wrong, but I think character is something that's not spoken about enough, especially with children, because if you teach them from quite a young age, or like you teach them through your actions, is so important. Like I don't think it upsets me sometimes that, you know, it's not the importance of it isn't really, I guess, yeah, I don't think the importance of it is really shown, to be honest. But like, for example, my grandma was very generous, right? Allahumma barik. And then my mum is very, very generous. My oldest brother is very generous. It's like it trickles down. Do you know what I mean? So I really do think, especially as children, they're very impressionable and they learn through actions of people that they see as authority, like our parents, teachers, things like that. So people that children are always around should, you know, have really good character, I think, in my opinion.
This question for both of you. Like, what aspect of your character have you found the most challenging to work on, in the sense of like, is there something that you've just struggled with?
I would say something that Ifrah mentioned, which is the way she described her grandmother as being able to remain composed or ethical even when she faces tribulation. So even when she's really angry, she finds a way to both communicate her anger while remaining like having some tact. And I think the reason why I think that's really difficult, speaking for myself, is because those moments are very fleeting. So it's very difficult to work on almost. Whereas like if it's, for example, I want to wake up early every day, for example, and it's not necessarily character trait, it could be, but it's like you have every day to work on that, like almost guaranteed, unless you're dead, basically. Whereas with those things, you never know when the next training session, quote unquote, would be. So it's like you just have to be prepared all the time, or like prepare for the test, so to speak. And I think for that reason, being sort of preparing for like times of tribulation is probably the one, or like how you are in times of tribulation. And I think it's really important because, like Ifrah mentioned, that's when a lot of you learn a lot about yourself, I would say. So that would be my response.
I think one that I really struggle with, that she was very good at, communication and like setting boundaries. I don't know if that's a character trait. I don't know. But yeah, I think that's something that I've gotten a lot better at because of the people that I've met at uni and stuff. But it's so difficult. I think I don't know. I think I call myself like a yes man. If you tell me to do something, I'll do it for you. Yeah, no worries, don't mention it, kind of thing. And like I don't know. I struggle realizing, okay, cool, maybe this is taking a toll on me, like saying yes to everything, or like, you know, I think just setting those boundaries and just being good at communication, I think.
What about you, Suleiman?
I think having perspective, I think that's something that I'm grappling with and trying to become better at. Just trying to put events in like a bigger picture, basically. Like it's not that deep. Do you know what I mean? Interesting.
Yeah. Sometimes I find myself like, let's say I'm like, this thing is not important. Sometimes I like to myself, am I doing that? Yeah, because out of some like feigned wisdom, like, no, I'm actually putting in. Or is it just because I'm actually not taking it as serious as it needs to be taken? Like,
this thing does matter.
The thing actually does matter. Like, relax. But yeah, sometimes like, So I think there's sometimes a danger of like being, like, convincing yourself like you're doing a thing out of this like air of wisdom and perspective, and it's like, no, actually, it is worth taking. I don't know if seriously is the right word, because there's a lot of connotations with seriously, like serious and seriousness, but like it's worth putting more of yourself on, and I don't even know what to say, but yeah, it's worth more than what you might think.
Bit of a tangent, but I think it's quite similar to like when you go into a taxi or like a cab. So like, there's some people who I know who will go into a cab, they want silence, like, you know, I don't want the cab driver to talk to me, and vice versa. But I think you can learn a lot from cab drivers. Like, you learn so much. I've learned, you know, in my head, especially if I'm taking a cab in like central London or something like that, I'm never going to see this person again, so I'm asking questions.
Bro, what's your wildest cabman story? Like,
Ooh.
What comes to mind? Stands up. I've got two in my artillery.
You just asking that so you could ask him.
Okay, I would say, remember when that whole petrol shortage was going on?
Yeah.
Okay, so I needed to go Westfield, like, so I tried to like plan my day, try to make it as flexible as possible, but not too flexible. But so I'm in this cab. Yeah, okay, there's a reason why I took cab and not bus. I need to get to Westfield quick.
Those Prada bugs aren't gonna buy themselves. Need to get there.
No, I wish Prada, but basically, me and my friend were going, and then we realized that he was taking a different route. Okay, I'm thinking, okay, maybe this guy knows shortcuts. Then we just stopped. Then I'm thinking, what is going on here? I look, and all the way down, I'm squinting. Me and my friend, she's looking from that window. I'm looking from this window. Is a petrol station. So now we're sitting in the queue for a petrol station, and this queue is maybe like 45 minutes long.
Mad.
Or like maybe like it felt very, very long.
Please tell me it was an Uber and it wasn't one of those ones that like
The meter.
the meter keeps going
No.
up.
Oh my god. No. Then there would be some
I'm out
sort
of the cab, bro. I'm walking from here.
The three brothers getting called.
It was a bolt.
Okay.
And this guy, we said to him, like, why aren't we moving? Kind of thing. We knew why we weren't moving. You're here for petrol, not to take us to Westfield. But then he was like, yeah, I'm gonna get petrol. Not can I get petrol? Not is it all right? I'm going to get petrol. And then we said, yeah, but we need to get to Westfield. He was like, okay, here you go. He gave us a £5.
No.
He gave us a £5. And we
Some of
said to
those
him,
Get yourself something nice.
I don't know. Maybe he thought we were 5-year-olds. I don't know. But he said, here you go. As if it was maybe like £100 or like £200 or whatever. And then
What, £5 each or £5?
F1 5. That looks like it's been sitting in his back pocket for 3 months.
£2.50 each.
He literally asked it to us, and then me and my friend looked at each other like, there is no way. And then when he went out of the cab, we just recorded everything, so we had video evidence. And then he just acted like nothing happened. We were literally, it's a 20-minute journey. It's not long at all, like 15, 20 minutes. That journey took us like an hour. But yeah, that would probably be my maddest cab experience.
That is quite mad.
Yeah.
But
Yours is madder.
That's cool. Okay, one of my ones that come to mind is this guy. I don't know if it's true, but he said that he's basically he's Bitcoin made him rich, and he does it for banter. He's a cab driver for banter. Basically, that's what he said. He was like, I made enough money. I'm financially independent because of Bitcoin. And I do this because I enjoy meeting new people and just like having conversations. So whenever I'm bored or whatever, I'll just jump on the app and I'll just drive someone around, basically. And he was telling me about following your dreams. He's like, don't fall into the corporate rat race. He was like, trust me, it's not worth it.
Was he in it before?
Nah, he wasn't in it. He was just like, don't do it. Do you know what I mean? Like, look at me. I don't need to do it. I was like, bro, you're trying facts. So that was one. And then the second one was this guy that was very into star signs. So he was so into it. And he was like, tell me your close friends and family members' birthdays, and I'll describe them to you. I swear to God, yeah, I was looking on my calendar app, yeah, getting my people's birthdays, and he was actually describing them like quite well. I was tripping. I was like, what is going on with this guy? I was like, what book did you read? I need to send that to me. So yeah, that was quite weird still.
Okay, save the best till last. I'm joking. I don't have. Mine wasn't. So I remember being in a cab with a fairly distinguished Afghan gentleman who said to me, and I was sitting at the front with him. This was like pre-COVID, where you just sit at the front, yeah. And he's like, you see, there's on your left. He's like, you see that book? I was like, yeah. He's like, pick up. I was like, cool. Picked up. He's like, yeah, I wrote that book.
Nah.
I was like, yo. He's like, yeah, I was a doctor in Afghanistan. I just came here, like, well, like after. Yeah, so that was quite mad.
Making me look bad.
Nah, that's
you
a
guys have
flex,
inspirational
though.
stories.
Yeah.
That's a flex. I said, pick up that book. That's sick.
No, I think it's really nice to like ask about them and like their lives and stuff like that, especially when you probably 9 times out of 10 you're probably never gonna see them again. And there's a lot of them who do want to talk and want to like give you advice and stuff like that. But yeah, I think when you go into a cab, if you feel comfortable talking to a cab driver and vice versa, ask them what's one piece of advice they'd give their younger self.
That's a sick question.
And do you know what? Because you got them on the spot, they'll give a really authentic answer, not something that they read off a book. Not to say that, but yeah. A guy that we work with, he's a bit older. He's quite older than us. randomly, he was just doing like click and collect or whatever, and then I said to him, piece of advice, and then he said to us, look after your body and drink bone broth. I've never heard that kind of advice in my life. Then I went home and started searching the benefits of it, and there's loads of benefits of bone broth. So yeah.
I like
Drink
the
bone
idea
broth.
of when you ask someone and they're not expecting it, they'll give you a more authentic response. Is there anything you'd expect from yourself?
Okay, that's a really good question. I'd expect myself to have done something impactful and like I guess meaningful to give back to the community, and to have done it in a way where I've literally given it all I could have given. Does that make sense? And not just the bare minimum, basically, and giving back to not just my community, like humanity in general. I would expect that of myself, and I think I would be very disappointed in myself if I didn't accomplish that. But obviously there's certain reasons that, but obviously within my capacity, I think I would be very disappointed if I didn't do that. What about you guys? Oh, sorry, go on.
I was just going to say, on that note, we haven't mentioned it yet, but do you want to speak a bit about SLA, or like what? Tell us a bit about that. Like, where did it come from? Like, what are its goals moving forward? And yeah, just what does it mean for you? What does it mean to you? What does it mean to you? Yeah.
So SLA is Somali Lawyers Association. Alhamdulillah, I started it when I was in my first year of uni, and the aim of it is to essentially like build that bridge between aspiring and current Somali lawyers, because there was a huge underrepresentation of Somalis in the legal profession and ethnic minorities in general. But yeah, I think it's just bridging that gap. But I just want to give a massive shout out to everyone who's involved, because it wouldn't be where it is now, and where it will be, inshallah, without them. So the co-founder, the entire team, everyone who's sort of volunteered to mentor, to speak at our events, every single supporter who, even though they have no interest in law, supported. And also, the mentees and just everyone who actually wants to try and are taking these steps to get involved in SLA and try to better themselves, etc. But yeah, SLA is it means a lot to me because of where it started. I think our intention was to just really try and help our community and be that bridge, essentially. And I think for anyone who's starting a project or an initiative or a podcast, etc., I would definitely say first things first, your intention, why are you starting this in the first place? And I say this because when you start something like that, you're going to face obstacles, you're going to face hurdles, and if anybody tells you that you're not going to face any of that, they're lying, I'm sorry, or that they didn't face any of that, that's just a blatant lie. You're going to make mistakes, embarrassing ones sometimes, and that's okay. And there's going to be times where you literally feel very, very overwhelmed, and you're very close to giving up. And my brother always says, when you're so close to giving up is when you're so close to actually reaching your goal. Is usually when you're this close to reaching your goal. So one thing that always helps is just remembering why you started what you started in the first place. And if you ensure that that core and that intention is something that's pure and just something that you really do believe in and you're passionate about, I think you'll be good. But other advice I'd give is, not that I'm in a position to give advice, but other advice I'd give is I know it's really hard. If confidence and thinking, oh, what are other people going to think is the thing that's holding you back, because that's one thing that did really hold me back. I was thinking, I'm a first year law student, I don't know anyone, I don't know anything, I don't have any financial resources, stuff like that. How are we going to do this? But because we were so passionate, we were we'll go for it. Yeah, if you have that, if that's what's stopping you, so confidence, etc. There's a guy called Adrian Drew. I don't know if you guys have heard of him. He's a really, really cool guy. I'm acting like I've met him in real life, but he's really, really cool. So he created something called Mind Cafe. So it's an organization that, I guess it's a self-help organization that basically they create content where they, almost like Have You Met, where they take an introspective approach into people's lives and how they've attained happiness or how they're trying to attain happiness and success, I guess, by their own definition. And he made like a Medium post. This is how I came across him, and the title of the post was why be realistic is the worst piece of advice I've ever received. And then in the sort of bio sort of thing, he wrote, life is short, ambition is vital. And at the beginning, he spoke about how, like, when he was really young, the nursery playgroup leader said to him, what do you want to be when you're older? And he said, a crocodile, miss. And then the nursery group leader, like, said, explained why that's physically impossible. And then he was like, okay, but who's going to stop me? And he basically said, I had a goal and that's all that mattered. And he basically said that if obviously there's other things that could be holding you back, I guess like financial resources, things like that. But then if it's just confidence and like, oh, what are people going to say? People will always have comments to make, whether you're doing good, bad, like there's no like going about that. You can't control what they're going to say. You control how you act when you hear all that. But people will call you irresponsible. People will call you crazy. People call you a dreamer sometimes, maybe. And maybe you're all those things. But isn't it better to have tried than to think, what if? And yeah, I really do believe that. I think not trying is where you fail, like point blank. Like you have to take that first leap of faith. So yeah, I'd say pure intentions, take that first leap of faith and just get started.
I can just imagine you giving like the graduation speech at like Harvard, them Stanford ones where like Denzel Washington. It's funny, it's like full circle because we spoke about graduation at the beginning, but it's fun.
So you don't even have to write it. You can just watch this back and then
That's it.
memorize.
That's it.
But yeah.
Nah, this was a pleasure. Thank you.
No, likewise. Thank you so
coming,
much for having me on.
Enjoy
Nah,
that.
It's been so cool. Yeah.
Lit.
That was good, guys. Wow, that was really cool.
You enjoyed that?
Yeah, that was really cool. Really enjoyed it.
It goes so quick, innit?